Good morning. Our next project for week 3 is going to be all about the elements and principles of design. We're going to especially kind of concentrate on shape. Um, in your eCampus, week 1, I attached a sheet, Fundamentals and Elements of Design vocabulary sheet. You need to make sure you open that, and you will actually have a test, just a vocabulary test on the last day. But everything you wanted to know, everything we're going to talk about is on that list. Here is just a portion of it. We're going to be working with scale, space, proportion, direction, family, anomaly, and also a little bit on radial balance and symmetrical balance. So how are you going to do this? You are going to, oh, I see a typo. You will be composing, oh no, it isn't a typo, 11 pencil roughs, and you're going to be prompted on different elements of design. The first 4 is going to be just about concentrating on positive and negative space. Here's an example of positive and negative, positive, negative, negative, positive, and you can see negative space can be viewed as positive space and create its own shapes. So positive space is occupied space. Negative space is unoccupied or empty space surrounding the objects in a picture painting. The negative spaces in good design will be as appealing as the positive spaces. So it's all about the negative space. I don't know if you are familiar with M.C. Escher. He is the master of positive and negative space, and he's really big on morphing. So you can see how the fish turns into a bird, but you can see the negative space, how they kind of morph into one another. So the first thing you're going to do, you are going to set up some 3-inch squares so that you're going to do all of your thumbnails in. So this is a square, this is not a square. So what you need to do is you need to, I suggest, take a 3-inch, just take out a ruler. You need a ruler, and I know you got one of those in your kits. Take out a piece of cardboard, Bristol board, or whatever you have, and cut out a 3-inch square with a pair of scissors, and then trace your templates. Okay? It's not going to work if you don't know what a square is, so you need to use your ruler. So this is what your sketchbook page would look like. Okay, so you should probably be able to get 4 sets of 3, so that's 12. So do it in your sketchbook. You got those cool sketchbooks, make good use of it. Please, please be neat when you put your squares in there, your templates. You know, just don't have them all over the place, because you're going to be doing groups of 3 of every single element. It's up. Okay, I went a little bit fast there. The first one you're going to do, you're going to do 3 thumbnails. I did examples here. You're going to do 1 triangle, and it's all about the positive and negative space. So the clue is all of your negative space has to be different. Do you see how this is not equal to this? You can tilt, you can rotate, you can overlap your square, but you need to erase and be neat and get rid of this. So this is actually a rectangle here. So this is 3 examples. So this is a little bit more active because it's leaning. This is a little bit more sleepy because it's straight across. But you see how the negative spaces from here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here. So the most important thing of every single one of those exercises that you're going to do today is that the negative space has to be different. And you see how you're creating a shape? You're creating a triangle here. 2 more rectangles. An interesting shape here. Okay, let's go to the next one. So the first one, thumbnail. 1 rectangle. Know how to count and know what a rectangle is, okay? The second one is, what you go, ooh, I got my little, when I did my screenshot, I had my little Illustrator thing in there, but you can see what it is. 2 rectangles. These 2 are rectangles. I've crisscrossed them. One thing you can do, when you overlap your shapes, you can create a negative shape. So super cool. Look here, this is great because look at that little triangle is really, really cool. Different distances here, here. I think it's moving around. Different here, here. Everything has to be different. And the final of this is you're going to pick 4 that you like and you're going to ink them. And I have to approve them for you to ink them. So please be neat, color in. If you're using pencil or if you want to use a marker, that's fine. But make the thumbnails clear that I can look at, and then you're going to do inks, okay? Here, use a ruler. If you're using a rectangle, by gosh, use a ruler so it's nice and neat. I'm not saying spend a lot of time on it, but just make it dark enough and make it so I can see it to view it. So that's number 2. Number 3, 2 rectangles, different scale. So that means this is the very same element, it's just bigger and smaller, okay? Look at the cool things. What's really, really nice, and the whole point of this whole exercise is when you have, you're using the very same shapes, but they're showing them in a different way. So you're actually creating a collection. So for instance, I know at least one person is an interior design student. It's very, very important. So if you want to do, like, for instance, pillows on a couch or something, it's going to be unified but different because you're using that same elements. Wonderful, wonderful shapes here. You can be doing them in pencil. I just kind of threw them together on a computer. The next one. Okay, a vocabulary word. What is proportion? This is different proportions. It's stretched, okay? This long and skinny, they're both rectangles, but they are different. They've been stretched or pulled. Scale is the same shape, bigger and smaller. Proportion is when you change the proportion of them. Got some really, really nice, look at that little negative space here. Isn't that wonderful? A cool shape right there. Different shapes here. And this kind of, when you overlap this one, it kind of becomes a totally different shape. Okay? Number 4. Whoop, I skipped number 4. Oh, okay, now I'm in number 5. Okay, what you're going to do, you're doing good direction. Direction is when an element has a characteristic of leading your eye. Okay, so you can use any shape you want. The different shapes are organic or geometric, but you're using the same shape. Okay, so here we've got ovals, nice direction. Nice little negative spaces created here. Really, really nice here, very easy to follow. Here, it's a totally different. Also, you can always color in the whole background black if you want to. That's always cool, and I have a few of them, of examples of those. So, directional flow, directional flow, directional flow. This one, when you get farther into these thumbnails, they're a lot more fun and just fun to work with and fun to look at. Okay, the next one is a family. This is unlimited shapes, but a family is shapes that are similar, okay? So you've got all circles, different sizes, and you've got some ovals. They're similar. It's like members of your family. It's similar, so you don't see any squares. They're all circular. This is kind of organic shapes. It kind of looks like a, I don't know, an alligator thing or something like this. All of these are different, but they're similar. All the same and similar. So an oval and a circle is in the same family. Did one with line work. Line work, got some really great shapes filled in here, but all of them are similar, but they're different. That's all in the same family. You don't see any circles, you don't see any squares in there. So you use just lines to create them. Okay, let's see what's next. Okay, anomaly. Anomaly is a vocabulary word, an object or an element which is noticeably different because of the fact that it is different from its surroundings. Every single one of those. Wham. Perfect focal point. I mean, your eye cannot help but go to that little area here. You've got triangles and a circle. Here, they use a little line work. A lot of depth there, but it looks like it's just kind of floating in some planes. Here, you got to be careful when you're using circles and squares. I think this is a really good example because there's lots of negative space around them. If one of these circles here would have been a square, it probably wouldn't be so obvious. You got to be really, really careful with this. But also you've got the contrast of light and dark that's helping that anomaly there. So you can see you have to know, you have to be able to look at it and know right away this is an anomaly, and it's a perfect way to do a focal point. Okay, the next one is repetition of 3 shapes. You can see here, the repetition here, it's a circle and a rectangle. It's really clever. This is actually done by a student last semester. Did a very nice job. This is actually symmetrical too. But this is a rectangle and a triangle and 2 rectangles. And then they just turned it upside down. It's got directional flow. And one thing you'll find out, a lot of these elements and principles of design, they will overlap. All of these are very clever. Every single one was done last semester. So here they've got a circle, a triangle, a rectangle, and they've repeated it. Looks like they forgot the little square here, but I guess I give them a break. It looks pretty cool. Okay, so repetition, 3 shapes. Okay, now we're going into symmetrical balance, same on both sides, mirror image. Mirror image, a motif. Right here's an example of symmetrical, the same on both sides. Asymmetrical balance, all 3 of these are asymmetrical balance. And also you'll see there's, you've got anomaly going here. You've got a little concentration here. But you can see it's not equal on both sides. These are just different designs, again, that the students did last semester. Beautiful, beautiful. And what's really makes this beautiful, all this white space around it. Do not be afraid of negative space. It is your best friend. I mean, seriously, it is great. Okay, let's go next. Go down, am I having trouble moving around here? Okay, the next one is radial balance. Radial balance occurs when elements radiate around a center. 3 different examples. This could actually be family, but what it does, it creates a strong focal point. Right here, focal point, focal point. You're rating around it, squares around, and you're kind of radiating it like rays of the sun. And here you're just overlapping. This is kind of rotating around. This is rotating out, and this is around and out. So when you get into these other thumbnails, it makes it a lot more fun. Okay, so next, you're going to complete your thumbnails in pencil. You're going to have 3 examples of each one of these numbers. There's 11, so you're going to have 33 thumbnails. Okay, don't spend a lot of time on them, but don't rush through it either. I mean, don't spend like, 5 hours. It's a thumbnail. It is showing you what's going to be, your final would be. Okay. So next, thumbnails due before I have to approve your thumbnails before you can ink your finals. Okay. I will choose which ones I think I want you to do. So you can tell me which ones you particularly like, and you will ink them. So first of all, thumbnails due before you start your inked finals. It's due, you can spend a little time on this. It's due Friday, June 19th by noon. Please make the deadline. A lot of you are not making your deadlines, okay? This is a very complex, well, it's not a complex class, but it's a very fast-paced class. Don't get behind, okay? Your inked final will be due Monday the 23rd, so you got all weekend to work on your inked, and you're going to be doing 4, okay? Is that, yeah, okay, that's the least of it. So if you have any questions, what do? Text me. I don't want someone to say, oh, well, Ms. Waskovich, I didn't know how to do it and you didn't answer your email. Well, I'm not in front of my email all the time. And you know what a hassle it is to log into your email. You have to have your phone, you have to put in a code and all that other stuff, okay? Text me. I can answer it right away for you. Okay, so I'm going to give you a sneak peek of what you're going to do the last week. Your final project is you're going to do a symmetrical. You might even want to go back and use one of these. You're going to do a block. You're going to cut a block print in a symmetrical design, and then we're going to repeat it into a pattern. So think about it. Research and kind of Google how to do block printing, because you have to use that cutter. You have to be really careful. So I will suggest some videos for you to watch. It's a very fun process. I have done many of them. I'll have to show you some examples. You can use ink that you can put on t-shirts. I've done many of them. So that's about it for, I gotta sign off. I can only do 15 minutes, but I am anxious to see your thumbnails.